Coming up, Tzu Chi volunteers in Beijing visit families in need to bring them winter supplies and spiritual support. And we see how a Malaysian teacher was influenced by Jing Si Aphorisms, which led her to promote the good words to school campuses.
Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Siri Su. Thank you for joining us. In China, 3 townships in Siyang County, Jiangsu Province, recently received winter aid distribution from the Tzu Chi Foundation. 102 volunteers gathered to assist in distributing aid to impoverished families there.
If you are out driving, you have got to be careful. The bridges are all iced over. I've already seen a bunch of accidents all happen on this road.
Just as the driver warned, people have to be careful and pay close attention to the severe traffic conditions and the snow that caused them.
I've been worrying about the Siyang area these past few days. It's well below freezing, maybe 12 degrees below. The area is pretty much inaccessible. There's definitely no way to get there tonight. We might make it tomorrow, just maybe.
The Tzu Chi Foundation's planned winter aid distribution in Siyang County of Tzu Chi in northern Jiangsu faced delays due to icy conditions. The day before the distribution, volunteers depart early in the morning, but afterwards, road conditions forced them to detour. After reaching their accommodation for the night, no one expected a surprise the following morning. The engine oil in the bus they were using had completely frozen. After waiting for another bus to arrive, volunteers are finally able to meet the villagers. However, they arrived 3 hours behind schedule.
We've kept you waiting so long, we're sorry.
With temperatures of 12 below freezing, the volunteers fear that the residents can't bear the cold, which causes anxiety for the volunteers. But after all the pressure, delays, and troubles of the past 2 days, everyone can finally breathe a sigh of relief.
The weather. It really hit us with a curveball. Really, these past days, nothing has gone according to plan.
Because of the weather when we started out, we were kind of in a panic, running about distressed. But I thought back to the master's words. We should focus the heart in times of distress. Actually, difficult situations like today are the best opportunity to practice mindfulness.
Tzu Chi scholarship students also joined to lend a hand, helping the older folks carry the distribution goods.
If people give just a little love, this world could be a beautiful place. Today I'm so moved, and I realize what that saying really means. I'm really happy and hope in the future I can continue to help all the Tzu Chi volunteers.
After overcoming the freezing weather, care recipients and volunteers alike are grateful to share in each other's warmth.
Also in China, the current market economy features a high degree of income inequality. The inequality is reflected in Beijing, the capital, where there are rich people as well as those without homes. In carrying out winter aid distribution, local Tzu Chi volunteers recently visited families in need to bring them supplies and also spiritual support.
Beijing is known for its skyscrapers and people with fashionable wares. But when you walk into alleys, you'll see people in rundown houses as well as the homeless. Despite the freezing temperature, Tzu Chi volunteers are bringing relief goods to the needy in Beijing. Grandma Zhang said that her husband does odd jobs and picks up garbage. Because both of them have to raise a 7-year-old grandson, life isn't easy for them. The volunteers give them a new school bag and ornaments.
This is a good luck charm for your school bag. It's in the shape of an apple.
The volunteers comfort the grandma.
大家都有本难念的经，对，不要老想着自己不好，要想着自己好，一定要坚强。
At another single mother, Miss Chan's house, she weeps while telling the volunteers her problem.
I'll do my best. The government has been helping me for years.
I feel this isn't just a visitation. We are entrusted by the government to visit needy families and give them spiritual support.
精神的抚慰和关怀。
他们在物资的部分，在
The government has done a good job in providing material and financial assistance to these families. What Tzu Chi will focus on is caring for and accompanying them based on their individual conditions.
软和的，你快试看，你看你手好冰哦。
The volunteer helps Tian Yuling, a security guard, put on gloves. He keeps saying the gloves are good.
哎呦，真好，真好，真好，刚刚好，谢谢。
The young volunteer applies cream on the grandma's cold, dry hands.
Remember to use the cream every day so your hands won't be dry.
Everyone wishes the elderly longevity.
In 2013, Typhoon Haiyan caused serious catastrophes in the Philippines. Back then, Tzu Chi volunteers went to the disaster areas to deliver aid and help the affected residents. Since then, many disaster victims have become Tzu Chi volunteers. At the recent year-end blessing ceremonies in Ormoc, these volunteers expressed their gratitude through sign language performances.
3 year-end blessing ceremonies are held in an arena in Ormoc, a city heavily damaged by Typhoon Haiyan. Over 15,000 people have come to the ceremonies.
What I want to thank the most is that after Typhoon Haiyan, Tzu Chi volunteers helped handicapped people like me and also gave us what we needed.
I know Tzu Chi volunteers are also helping the needy in other countries. I can feel the volunteers' love from their hearts.
I really like Tzu Chi because my child received help from Tzu Chi. They helped solve our problems.
Volunteers perform on stage. The era of bamboo coin bank reminds everyone to grasp time to do good. The Chinese volunteers translate the lyrics so the participants can understand its meaning. To give a good performance, the performers rehearse repeatedly during their spare time.
Sa ginagawa ng Tzu Chi sa akin.
I want to use the sign language performance to pay back Tzu Chi. I want to give my best performance so the ceremony can become successful.
Performing about the era of bamboo coin bank is very meaningful to me because I also put coins into my coin bank so I can make donations to Tzu Chi.
Tzu Chi volunteers from Manila and Tacloban are also here to help set up the venue for the ceremony. While the people of Ormoc receive their blessing from volunteers around the world, they also make small donations to pay their love forward.
As we mentioned in our last report, many disaster victims in Ormoc have joined the rank of Tzu Chi volunteers. This year, 62 residents who once received aid put on Tzu Chi's gray volunteer uniforms to help others in need.
Humbly receiving their gray uniforms and putting on their Tzu Chi caps, residents of Ormoc in the Philippines are present at a commencement ceremony for volunteer training. In the aftermath of Typhoon Haiyan, these 62 residents all took part in Tzu Chi's Cash for Work programs in rebuilding their local community.
Salamat sa Tzu Chi Foundation na napunta rito.
Thank you, Tzu Chi, for coming to Ormoc. If you hadn't shown up, my life would not have changed for the better.
Ibang-iba na kaysa ngayon dahil
Typhoon Haiyan devastated Ormoc, but it also gave Ormoc residents an opportunity to rebuild. After the city's transformation, Ormoc is full of energy. The residents, who were once victims themselves, are now helping others in need.
The volunteer organization here is very good. They are always ready to help those suffering.
As people learn about Tzu Chi and the benefits of vegetarianism, everyone is deeply impacted. One volunteer who makes a living selling pigs has decided she wants to change her occupation.
Selling pigs is wrong. They also just want to live. If it were me, I wouldn't want to be sold like that.
These residents are not just rebuilding their homes, they are also enriching their spirit and learning to live a more positive lifestyle.
Recently, a volunteer training commencement ceremony was held in Myanmar, officially welcoming 96 local residents into the Tzu Chi family. This momentous occasion was also celebrated by local government officials.
Marking a historical moment of Tzu Chi's missions taking root in Myanmar, volunteers officially put on their name tags at the Bogyok Onsum Park.
I am so happy to be able to officially join the Tzu Chi family. I welcome others to join me, along with our counterparts, to help the less fortunate in the world.
When Tzu Chi handed out rice seedlings to help farmers in Myanmar rebuild their harvest after a severe flooding, the organization thus began a lifelong unbreakable friendship. On this day, 96 people are beginning their Tzu Chi path by joining the volunteer training course. To celebrate this momentous occasion, a government representative also came.
With a heart of compassion, life is without worries. In our current world, relationships between countries lack compassion. Only greed and anger exist, which then makes disasters unavoidable. The only way to create karma in this world is to practice loving kindness and compassion. Only then can these poisons be rid from our world.
Giving within their ability is not only the privilege of the elderly, the younger generation can also join in the efforts.
The things I can learn in the volunteer training are lessons I can apply to my life, my community, and the society at large.
With a pure heart, good deeds are easily carried out, as everyone donates a handful of rice to help the less fortunate. Myanmar farmers embodies the true Tzu Chi spirit of giving.
Tzu Chi volunteers of Malaysia Saraban recently held a banquet for care recipients. Among the participants is Tan Tuan Sian and his daughter, who received a bone marrow transplant in Taiwan. The family seized the occasion to express their gratitude.
As the Lunar New Year approaches, volunteers in Seremban, Malaysia, invited care recipients for a reunion. Among those present are Tan Tuan Sia, whose daughter, suffering from blood cancer, recently received a marrow transplant in Taiwan. The family was there to express their gratitude.
For my daughter, Tzu Chi helped her find a bone marrow donor. It's very hard to find a match for these procedures. The doctor said it's about 1 in 50,000 chance of finding a match.
One care recipient, Chow Pei Ni, who suffered a stroke and the loss of her husband, has come to express her gratitude. Before meeting Tzu Chi, she felt there was no hope left in her life.
At the time, I was a mess because of my stroke. I didn't really see a way forward. They really encouraged me and helped me get back on my feet.
This is Daniswari Chelamorthy, a Tzu Chi scholarship recipient who has come to lend a hand at the banquet.
Before Tzu Chi came to help, we were only eating 1 meal a day. Tzu Chi has helped us just like we're their family.
Stories of gratitude are shared over tables packed to the edge with wholesome dishes. When the God of Fortune arrives to share blessings, the joyful atmosphere gets even louder.
As I was handing out the oranges, I just had this extraordinary feeling. I just realized how much we are helping people.
As another year passes, the Tzu Chi family knows they will be there to support one another in the years ahead.
What kind of influence can a cassette of Jing Si Aphorisms bring? In Malaysia, a teacher from Kuala Lumpur was influenced to promote Jing Si Aphorisms in school campuses after listening to a cassette of these wise words. Now she applies Jing Si Aphorisms to help change her mindset and transform her negative views into strength.
As the song Thousand Hand World begins, 42 members of the Tzu Chi Teachers Association use sign language movements to spread Dharma. This is the 20th year that Malaysia Tzu Chi volunteers have promoted the foundation's education mission. Lee Kit-yong began to feverishly promote Jing Si Aphorisms after coming in contact with a cassette tape.
I am grateful that I have lasted as long as I did. I didn't get out of the car. Many of the teachers will hop off and on as they please. Some have gotten off and never got back on.
Lee is among the first seeds of Tzu Chi Teachers Association from Kuala Lumpur and Selangor. She not only brought Jing Si Aphorisms to school campuses, but also brought it home.
In my own family, I will often use Jing Si Aphorisms. If my children did something wrong, I will find a suitable aphorism and display it in an obvious place.
Back then, we would argue about certain issues and even butt heads, as we just stood firm on our own ground. In the end, I realized she changed, and slowly I changed too.
By spreading Jing Si Aphorisms to children in refugee schools, Lee and other members of the Teachers Association have also enhanced the students' lives with love and wisdom.
Recently, members from TIMA's Northern Taiwan chapter conducted house calls in New Taipei City's Shuangxi and Gongliao districts. While one group journeyed over mountains and rivers, the other was challenged with extreme cold temperatures during the visits. Yet neither group let these obstacles stand in their way of safeguarding the health of these villagers.
Making house calls, TIMA members are visiting care recipients in Taiwan's most eastern district on the island, New Taipei City's Gongliao district.
The doctors are wonderful. We have really hit the jackpot today.
TIMA members have arrived at remote villages to look after seniors' health.
The seniors here are mostly lonely seniors with not many people to talk to. Our purpose is not only to give them medical assistance, but also give them our spiritual support.
Meanwhile, the other medical team headed towards Shuangxi District's mountain area to visit elderly care recipients. Though the journey was not as far, they were instead challenged with driving in adverse weather conditions. This household's wall thermometer and a fire pan in the room is evident of how cold it is on this day. Thankfully, the nurses have come prepared with a special gift for the seniors. This cold weather made it difficult for the volunteers to continue their medical visit. However, the TIMA members persist on and thoroughly check each care recipient.
On the way up, the sisters were worried that the roads would be closed due to the snowfall, or the road would be slippery and the car would have difficulties driving. However, the road was clear and we were able to see most of our care recipients.
Overcoming the long distances and adverse weather conditions, TIMA members continue to safeguard each remote village's health as part of their calling to help cure the sick and heal the heart.
In Tzu Chi's 50 years of charity work, cash cards have been given out to disaster victims in addition to aid supplies. Originally, Tzu Chi volunteers first developed cash cards in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina in the United States in 2005. Since the flood victims who were forced to evacuate did not carry cash with them, cash cards allow them to buy daily necessities at designated shops. Since then, they have been used wisely in the aftermath of disasters worldwide, giving affected residents much-needed help in rebuilding their lives.
In using credit cards, one buys before paying. On the other hand, cash certificates are just like cash. The three different colors mean different values of the cards. The cards, known as cash cards, are like credit cards, ATM cards, and cash certificates. Tzu Chi volunteers distributed cash cards to flood victims in Malaysia in 2015, so residents can buy items at designated shops with them.
Jangan kita berdiam diri, kita terpaksa berusaha untuk mengatasi kesulitan.
In history, Tzu Chi's cash cards were first used in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina in 2005. Hurricane Katrina, which devastated 3 major states in the United States, was one of the deadliest hurricanes in history. More than 1 million residents had to evacuate New Orleans, which was seriously flooded and declared bankrupt. To help the flood victims, Tzu Chi volunteers in the United States first purchased shopping malls gift cards for them. However, gift cards require service fees. Therefore, the volunteers eventually came up with cash cards.
I want to thank you and just say God bless you. God bless your organization for what you've done. We couldn't be anywhere near where we are without the help.
The master designed the cash card. In the wake of Hurricane Katrina, we learned from others and developed our cash cards.
Tzu Chi learned it from the Red Cross in the United States. This is the first time Tzu Chi worked with banks in charity missions. Taiwan Buddhist Tzu Chi Foundation are printed on the cards so the recipients can know the love comes from Taiwan.
因为警消人员他们家里头也都没有水没有电的嘛。
This history was recorded in the book, The Love Within Hurricane Katrina, A Tzu Chi Perspective. Chen Yiling, Tzu Chi volunteer from Canada, who helped write the book, went to the disaster area to help distribute cash cards back then. She still remembers the scene clearly.
印象还很深的就是说越南呐、缅甸呐。
I remember clearly about meeting people who are originally from Vietnam or Cambodia. We thought we'd be helping Caucasian Americans, but we met a variety of people. In the country that is considered a heaven, you still see a lot of people who suffer.
In addition to the United States, people in Canada, Australia, Turkey, Malaysia, and other countries have also received Tzu Chi's cash cards.
Disaster victims worry about hunger right after disasters and have not thought about what they need. Cash cards come in handy in the reconstruction period when victims need to buy items to rebuild their lives, especially in the cities.
Tzu Chi volunteers give out cash cards imbued with blessings, which have helped countless disaster victims on their path to rebuilding their homes and lives.
30 Tzu Chi volunteers in Malacca, Malaysia, visited patients and their families at Jalan Hospital to bring them some New Year festivities. We'll leave you with these images.